그럼 이제 첫 번째 강연을 시작하겠습니다. 처음 모실 분은 싱가포르에 본사를 둔 인공지능 솔루션 회사 ADDO의 공동 창립자이자 CEO이신 아이샤 칸나 대표님입니다. 아이샤 칸나 대표님은 포브스 매거진에서 동남아시아의 혁신적인 여성 기업가 중 한 명으로 선정되었으며 인공지능, 스마트 도시 및 핀테크 분야의 선도적인 기업과 정부의 전략 고문을 역임하였습니다. 그리고 세계경제포럼의 글로벌 미래위원회 회원으로서 인공지능과 같은 첨단 기술과 거버넌스에 대한 리더십 및 인사이트를 제공하고 계십니다. 그럼 여러분, ADDO의 공동 창업자이신 이자 CEO이신 아이샤 칸나 대표님을 무대로 모시겠습니다. 박수로 환영해 주시기 바랍니다.
Thank you so much. So my firm and I, we work with a lot of large companies and governments to use AI to improve productivity. And I'm going to tell you 3 ways in which AI improves productivity. Some of this may not have come to robots yet, but we will know that it's coming. Number 1, AI makes humans more productive. AI makes machines more productive. And eventually, AI will make AI more productive. So let's start with AI assistance for human productivity. And for this, I want to take you to Chile. I don't know if you know this, but Chile has the 3rd largest market for mayonnaise in the world. And when these 3 gentlemen, Matthias, Karim, and Pablo, wanted to make a plant-based version of mayo in Chile, everybody thought they were crazy. How could they come up with the exact wonderful taste that Chileans love? But they decided to use an AI. And they gave this AI a name called Giuseppe, which is a lot of what we see. Every AI, whether it's in a phone or in a chatbot or in a little robot or a big machine, has a name. And they gave it the database of 400,000 plants. Imagine no chef could possibly come up with a recipe of 400,000 plants. And then Giuseppe started to give them these recipes like mix pineapple and cabbage to make it taste like milk. And they followed this advice, and soon enough, Not Mayo became the 2nd best-selling mayo supplier in Chile. They were so excited by this human productivity increase that they actually began to make plant-based versions of burgers, of milk, of ice cream. And here's the thing with AI. A robot may be constrained biomechanically, but an AI really gets better and better once it starts. So when they asked the chef, the AI chef, to make the plant-based version of 2% milk, it took the AI chef 10 months. But when they were supposed to make the plant-based version of whole milk, it only took 2 months. That's a 5-time increase in productivity. Imagine not having this AI on your team. Lots of startups in Korea, in Singapore, in Chile, in the US start. But they fail or they are not competitive enough because they don't have that productivity booster. Jeff Bezos from Amazon bought Notco to America. They started raising money. Roger Federer invested in them, if you're a tennis fan. Lewis Hamilton invested in them. And from that one chef, maybe they had one AI chef, hundreds of jobs were created. And I think that's really the power of AI that I want to talk to you about. When you think about AI productivity and you think about generative AI, imagine now that they can talk to Giuseppe. But that's just one part of the picture when humans like you and me have assistants. The other part of the picture is the machine. And we tend to think of only robots as intelligent machines. But I want you to think of any machine, anything that's small or big, as being intelligent. And in this case, I want to take you to London. Did you know that Rolls-Royce is the second largest maker of aircraft engines in the world? That means if you go from here to New York or London and you look out your window, 50% of the engines will be made by Rolls-Royce. And this man had a vision. There'll always be a man or a woman or someone who has a vision, and that vision then they use AI to help them with. Stuart Hughes said, "Why is this engine being repaired when it doesn't really need repair? Why doesn't the engine be intelligent and tell me when it needs servicing? Because if it doesn't need servicing, then my clients like Korean Airlines, Lufthansa, American Airlines, I'm wasting time and money because they cannot put the engine with all of us as passengers in the sky." So the first thing he did was he took the engine and he put tiny sensors all over the engine. So imagine a mesh of sensors on yourself, for example. And these sensors are then giving out data constantly on the blades, on the rotation, on the screws. And this is called a digital twin. A digital twin is a really good way to add intelligence to any piece of machinery, any piece of physical being. And this is a couple of things that the engine needed. First of all, the engine was just like a human. You and I have contextual awareness. We know what's happening around us. In the same way, for any machine to be productive, it needs to understand its environment. And for this, Rolls-Royce provided that engine the environment. They took everything, they fed it data about where is the plane going? What's the flight path? Is it going from Seoul to Singapore, Seoul to Chicago, Seoul to Tokyo? What's the weather like? What are the conditions like? And through the satellite, when the plane was in the air, it communicated that with the engine. Secondly, just like you and me, a machine to be intelligent needs to be self-aware. It needs to know how it's feeling. And that's where all the sensors come in, where it can self-diagnose itself, where it says that the blades are not running properly or a screw is coming loose. And with all of this information, then it gives that information to the AI engine. Before, the AI engine used to always be away from the machine. Now we are entering an era when the AI engine can be in the machine. It's called edge computing, just like your phone. It has AI in it. Now the AI knows how it's feeling, what the surroundings are, and the AI can now predict and say, hey, now take the plane down and service it because it needs maintenance. Effectively, the productivity of the machine has gone up because it can stay in the air for longer. Just like in the last example, the productivity of the human founders went up because it could now make lots of plant-based foods in a very short amount of time. So for Rolls-Royce, this became an international case study, and they were able to extend engines by up to 50%. This is a huge improvement in their profitability. But what happens when we have generative AI with machines? And for this, you can become even more productive. Google's DeepMind had a robot like this one, and it took it to a table and said, pick out the tiger. So if you've done robotics before or any kind of machine, you know the robot doesn't know that unless it's been trained on the data. unless you've given it that data beforehand or told it what exactly to look for. But in this case, they didn't tell the robot anything. So the robot went to the internet and searched for what a tiger looks like. And why was it able to do this? Because it knows natural language now. So it was able to put in natural language to the search engine, and the search engine returned the pictures, and it was able to see enough pictures to recognize that this is what a tiger looks like. This has improved the productivity of this robot because now it requires less handholding. If you think about a big context, like big manufacturing or e-commerce companies, such as those that are my clients globally, you see that in Germany, C-React said that they can take warehouse robots. For example, let's say you order something online, and then they have to pick that object from the warehouse. Without having to train the robot could just look at the catalog and be able to grasp the necessary products by name. Again, because it's able to look up what the map of the warehouse is and also what any object means. This means it took 70% less time and less cost for this warehouse to use this robot. And that's really where I come in. I don't do R&D. I think that's really incredible, the work that goes on in academia. But when it comes out of academia and it becomes part of the corporate world, that's where I come in and give my clients the ability to deal with machines and humans. But machines can also be hacked. And when you're using AI in machines, how do you hack a machine with AI? You ruin the AI model. You poison the data. Because when the data is not working, it doesn't work properly. For example, in the same warehouse, if you don't tell it that there is some inventory over there, then the robot will just go and say, oh, there's no inventory there, and somebody can steal that equipment. That's why anti-fraudsters and risk management and regulation is so important to protect our machines from being poisoned in their very AI. If you're ever looking to see the latest developments and how this is prevented, many of the developments that come out of universities then go on and become startups. So Hidden Layer just raised $50 million. And its main purpose is not cyber attack prevention, but AI cyber attack prevention, including data poisoning. Now, the last thing I want to talk to you about is AI increasing AI productivity. So what do I mean by that? It means for the first time, AI agents can interact with each other using natural language messaging. If you are a coder or a software engineer or a robotics engineer or a policymaker, you know I've been coding my entire life. I can't imagine telling two programs to talk to each other in natural language, in Korean or Chinese or French or English. And that's what they can do now. So Microsoft just released a framework. And here's how it works. You can see that the human asks his own assistant, hey, plot a chart of Meta and Tesla stock price. And it says, okay, and it tells another agent to do it. So the AI is telling another AI. And the AI is saying, okay, I'm executing the following code. And the other AI tells it, there's an error package, it's not installed. The AI is correcting each other now. And the human is completely out of the picture. So there's less human intervention required. And one day, this is just chatbots right now, you can imagine human robots are also going to carry out tasks of work. And they'll teach each other, and they'll correct each other. And here's the beautiful thing. When you have a user, and you have a commander, so it's called a controller, which is the commander AI. The controller AI then sends it to different types of AI what work to do. Might say, you go and search up this price. You go and create a report out of it. You create an image out of it. And then it also gives it to another AI agent and says, be safe. It's called a safeguard. Make sure there's no mistake. Check if the data is poisoned. Is it really making sense or not? I think this is the kind of phenomenal productivity boost that we'll see. And if you think about it, what makes the robot intelligent is the AI. And part of what I wanted to do over here was point out not only the 3 kinds of AI that are in everything, including robots, but also that they can be harmful to us as well. And it's very important to have risk management built into the AI, but also government policy that understands where is the weaknesses in the regulation and can fill in the gaps so that we can use it for productivity and completely for human benefit and have zero or minimal risk management. Thank you so much.